This is President Obama's 100th day in office, so let's see how he's doing. Joining us from Washington, D.C., Tavis Smiley, PBS TV and public radio host and author of Accountable, Making America as Good as Its Promise. And Fareed Zakaria, host of CNN's Fareed Zakaria GPS, editor of Newsweek International, and author of The Post-American World. Thank you both for taking the time to be with us this morning. Really appreciate it. Tavis, I want to start with you because the book Accountability, this is really maybe a moment after 100 days to sort of put the template of that book up against the Obama administration's first 100 days. Using that, what would you say thus far?
Good question, Harry. What this book Accountable does, Harry, is lays out 242 promises that candidate Obama made on the major issues that matter to most Americans. And the point of this is so that you wouldn't have to, that is to say everyday Americans, wouldn't have to rely on Harry Smith or Fareed Zakaria or Tavis Smiley to tell you how your president is doing. You can follow along on these major issues. Promises made ought to be promises kept. Here's the short answer. At the rate he's moving right now, he will have a completion rate of about 66% at the end of his first term, given the major promises he made on the major issues. That said, while he has signed 7 major bills into law in the first 100 days, that's 7 more than George Bush did in his first 100 days. That's still a grade of a D at 66%. Right. So the president, I think, he's off to a good start. He's doing great work. But it's really about holding our leaders accountable. Their accountability is our responsibility.
Promises made versus promises kept. I would have turned the tables then to Fareed, using your book as a template, The Post-American World, in which America is seen not necessarily as the center of this universe anymore. How is this president working against the template of your book?
Well, what I argue in my book fundamentally is that the world has changed dramatically in the last 10 years. You have had this amazing phenomena of the rise of 124 countries around the world, the big ones like China and India that have to be accommodated. You have to listen to them. If you look at that template, Obama has actually seemed to really understand it, made overtures to the world, made overtures to the Russians, the Chinese, working with the Indians, but even overtures to Iran, to Syria. Engaging in the Middle East peace process, even Venezuela. Now, this has, I think, been a great overture. The first movement of the symphony is yet to come.
The first 100 days, perhaps,
right. But I think as an overture goes, I don't think any president has had as much success as Obama has. Tavis may be grading on an unusually hard curve, but what I would tell you is this guy gets this new world, this post-American world that I talk about, and he's acting in a way that will secure America's interests.
All right. I want to turn this then to Tavis. Listening to what Fareed just said, Fareed says this guy gets this new world. Do you see this president as somebody who gets it? Because we look at these pockets of resistance. We look at the Tea Parties. We look at the people who identify themselves as Republicans, this 24, 25%, and they say, no way, no how. We are not on that ship in any way, shape, or form.
I think Barack Obama is an unusually gifted president. Certainly after 8 years of George Bush, obviously, given the turnout, most Americans are relieved that he's in the White House. I want President Obama to be a great president, Harry. I think he can be a great president. The point of this book is, though, that great presidents aren't born, great presidents are made. And they have to be held accountable to those promises. With all due respect to my friend Fareed, it's not me grading the president. These are promises the candidate made, and they ought to be held accountable to them. So we're not being difficult where he's concerned, not being hard on him, not casting aspersion on him, but saying to all of our leaders, promises made, again, ought to be promises kept. But I think he does get it, and I think he has the capacity to be a great president.
Quickly, Tavis, do you think he'll be able to deliver on health care?
It's going to be tough. He seems to be backing away from single payer. So that's going to be a tough issue on education. The news comes out today that No Child Left Behind, which he promises he's going to reauthorize later this year, is not closing the gap between black and white where the achievement of these students are concerned. So it's going to be a rough road to hoe, no question about that. 100 days really is not the best benchmark. I think all of us agree.
It's a snapshot. It's a snapshot. It's not a big picture. I'm going to go back to the big picture of this world, though. We're looking at places like the Middle East, and we look at Pakistan, which can't control the Taliban. We look at ramping up troops going into places like Afghanistan. Is there a good outcome possible in these places?
there is a better outcome possible than just muddling through. And I think the point I'm making in the book is that the world has changed, and to work with this new world requires a whole different set of skills. Of course, Barack Obama cannot magically solve the problem of the Middle East or magically make the Iranians our wonderful allies. That's not the point. The point is, as I keep stressing in the book, these economic forces, these political forces are changing the world. What we have to do is to figure out what is the most effective strategy. So you take the Middle East. What he's done is, by appointing George Mitchell, he's sent a signal. The United States is committed to an active role and a two-state solution.
Right.
By saying to the Iranians, we're willing to talk, all of a sudden there's a fascinating debate taking place in Iran where they're saying, why shouldn't we engage with the Americans? And they're bickering amongst themselves. All of a sudden, we're not the problem, they're the problem. And changing that dynamic, which is a matter of tone and style, is a crucial part of international relations.
Fareed, thank you so much. Do appreciate it. Tavis Smiley in Washington, D.C., thank you for your time this morning as well. And to read excerpts from the new books by Tavis and Fareed, go to our website. That's earlyshow.cbsnews.com.